We're back, Jack. Part two. I didn't have the what do you call it? The text. What do you call it? Chat function on. So I just popped it back on. Thanks for joining. Say hi in the chat so I know who's hanging with me here. That'd be nice. Okay. Thanks for coming back. So as I said, I'm just working on color theory. I was talking about color theory in the first part. If anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to chat with you. And you know, Doodle Squatch, welcome back. You're a good one, Doodle Squatch. I appreciate that you come to these. Yeah, Len Graham, nice to see you. What's up, my man? What's up? So, how was your weekend, guys? Hope all the Mother's Day things went well for you and whatnot. Where I actually was out of town, so I'm doing Mother's Day today. At, I don't know, 5 o'clock or so, taking the mommers out, giving her some love and attention. My son, Joshua Lindbergh, the main man himself, Joshua. Oh my gosh. What an honor to be in your presence, sir. You got what's coming up next with your film there, Josh? What projects are coming? What can we expect? Got some lo-fi music happening today. I got a couple notifications from what do you call it, YouTube about the music that I was using. They weren't like strikes on my channel, but they were saying that somebody claimed a copyright for it. So it looks like if you, let's say you publish an album of music that's copyright free, but you published it, then somehow there's some sort of copyright issues there. I don't know. I'm just a humble meme farmer. Okay. What do we got, Joshua? You've got a film in. We've got a film in production loosely based on the Book of Job. Wow. Oh man, everything you do is good, dude. I'm really excited to see what it is. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Where will you be airing it? I guess you're probably on your own DLive, I would assume. Joshua runs a really, really fun DLive show. He's just really good at banter and it's just funny and cool. So what more can you ask? Um, he's got really good taste and just all the sorts of things that get discussed in that show are kind of fun and interesting. It's a sort of thing that's like, say you went to a coffee shop with your buddy or something like that, and only he's a really cool buddy who's got a lot of class and a lot of style. Fine tuning it, but I'll be getting it going soon, right? Okay. One of these days I'm gonna have to do like contact you about filmmaking because I'm involved in a filmmaking project myself, and we're running into difficulties mainly because we don't have a lot of people and resources, and we don't have $100 million to play with. We've got a lot of heart. So I don't know that it. I suppose what that does is it forces you to sort of be more creative. You know what I mean? Fine tuning. Okay. Yeah. Hey fam, good to see you, CG. Plugging away, my man. Plugging away. Hmm. Okay, Joshua, understood. Happy to share about whatever you need. Scraping the bottom of the barrel is my specialty. Dude. Um, my door is wide open, Donald. That's very, very, very kind of you. I know you're a generous soul. Truly, truly a good man. Wish there were more people like you, Joshua. All right. I am gonna focus a bit on the painting. I'll just kind of chit chat about whatever comes to mind. I suppose I'm live streaming my brain as well. So, so many complex, small little areas on this film. Whoa! I just called this a film. Trippy. Anyway, it is in a sense. It's like a still film, I suppose. Like it's just a film on paper. No, I think of comic books as film on paper. Um, been talking with a friend of mine who's also making a film of his own, and explained to him like, dude, man, making a film is a giant, difficult undertaking. That requires a lot of stuff. Why don't you do like say an adult illustrated novel? When I say adult, I mean not for kids. How do I rephrase this? It's not inappropriate. There's some kind of sexy stuff in it or whatever, but like not a children's book, but a book with illustrations in it that adults would want to buy. That's what I meant to say. My English no good. Anyway, I'm gonna help him check that out, and I feel like that's a good alternative to people that have huge film aspirations like I do. I wish I could be more modest about my aspirations, but my ideas are just too damn big. That's part of why I really love and admire Joshua Lindbergh's work because he's able to do so much. The ideas are very big, but yet, I don't know how he does it. You just have to watch his films, and then you'll get what I mean. So as I replicate this painting, I get kind of inside the head of the painter himself in terms of how he composed it. And there's all these, just so many nuanced areas in with all these different people kind of bunched together, and the variety of colors that he uses. Like, for example, this guy has a robe on that's like a deep purple, like a midnight purple, and he's in front of a guard with a kind of goldish orange uh, whatever suit on. I don't know what to call it, the military suit that he's got on. And he's got kind of a little bit of a red robe in his hand. And in the arts, in a sense, this is the music of painting. Is the juxtaposition of these different colors, and then using the light as a kind of a harmony, or when I say a harmony, I mean like a vocal harmony, and like an emphasis of some kind. It's so enjoyable if you ever get to learn how to do painting, you'll understand these things. So we're doing a little bit of a different musical vibe today. Doing some lo-fi. And honestly, I was thinking I'd really like to do lo-fi music myself, like put some lyrics on this kind of stuff. My mission at this point is to make music that's going to reach more people per se. I just finished a very major project this weekend, and I'll be focusing on writing music with my musical partner who goes by the name George Freud. And so he and I did Some Days Today. If you know my channel, you'll know that song. And he's pro level writer, producer. And so it's really going to be awesome working with him. It saves me a lot of time. I know that sounds kind of selfish, but it it's I do a lot of stuff. I'm a single father, and I'm not going to give you the routine, but when you've got somebody else who's kind of designing the music and you're just sort of doing the vocals, it's kind of like having your cake and eating it too, sort of. So I'm really enormously grateful to know him. I'm grateful to know all of you. I mean, honestly, what are what are content developers without their audiences? See what I'm saying? So I'm happy to help people in wherever they're at in their journeys. There's some people that I talk to about politics and strategy. There's other people I talk to about their spiritual journey. Other people would focus on their artistic growth, and it all comes together. I think you have to, the old phrase, "Be the change in the world." That is us. I mean, it's now us. It's weird how these kind of liberal axioms are now ours. There's a discussion going on about free speech is actually a liberal value, a classical liberal value, but now it's the right wing that's associated with it. We're the ones losing our free speech, right? And that the deal, the story. Um, what a weird change in the fates, I guess, as it were. Okay. It's tough to decide. So why I'm looking all over the place here is because I'm thinking I've got like a sort of a blue tone on there. Hello, Bruno Beriba. Welcome to the gang. John Woo. Hey, man. Awesome. John Woo from Hong Kong, the filmmaker. It's great to have you guys here. Hey, Bruce and John. Yeah. Happy to share about whatever. I'm just reading the chat. Again, any questions for me, feel free. This is just us hanging out. Feel free to toss me any kinds of questions if you're interested to know anything. My favorite color is green. Oh, that was an easy question. Okay. John Woo, I'm curious. I'm assuming you're using that name in reference to the director, John Woo, I guess. I've been to Hong Kong several times, actually. I lived in Asia. A lot of people know this. Bruce is Bruno in English, so that's okay. Wow, neat, cool. Where are you from, Bruno? Or I mean, are you in the States or Europe? Brazil, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I love Brazilian music. I love, love, love Brazilian music. Oh my gosh. Many years ago, I used to teach English as a career, English as a second language. And I worked for a school in New York City that had mostly students from Brazil. That was so cool. It was only for like a summer. I moved to Asia after that. But man, oh man, did I have a good time. It's just wonderful people. Um, yeah, this is a lot of stories, some of which I can't tell online, but great memories. A lot of fantastic artists in Brazil too. Like that's being a freelancer myself. You interact with all kinds of people, and yeah, I just had some really cool experiences meeting great Brazilian people. I feel like South America has this huge, I don't want to say white nationalist, but like there's I don't know, there's just a huge right wing movement going on down there that we in North America and Europe don't interact enough with our brothers and sisters in South America. I did interview a guy named Zero Schizo on Imperium Art. He's from Peru, and I guess he's mixed race, etc. But he's a strong proponent of fascism and brilliant guy, brilliant, and just a lovely guy. Like easy guy to talk to and stuff. So I really want to. I don't know what to do, but I would love it if we could communicate more. Anyway, I'm not painting. I should shut up. CG, I was just about to mention zeros because yeah, if you guys, like maybe after this show or whatever, and you just kind of snoop around the Imperium Art documentary area on my YouTube, you'll find Zero Schizo. It's a really nice discussion. That whole that whole Imperium Art venture is extraordinary, and I'm not saying, oh, I'm extraordinary. No, it's because the guests are extraordinary, and I've had like countless fantastic conversations. Just it's really, really a gold mine, and I recognize that it's not the easiest thing to find the time to look at all or to follow these things and stuff. But just put it in the queue. Set it aside. When you have time. Let's say you're working, you're washing your dishes, you're eating at home, or you're doing anything, and you want to be enriched. Then turn on my show and find a topic or a person that you're interested in and check it out. You will not regret it. I guarantee that. Or your money back. Okay, let's see here. This particular piece I'm doing is pretty hard. I'm fortunate that I found a website that does a close up of the painting, and so I'm able to see most of the nuances. So what's funny from my perspective is that I'm glad you guys enjoy watching this, but since I do it, I don't really know what it's like from your experience. You know, I'm afraid that it's tedious to watch, so I try to talk, and then at least share some ideas, insights. So as I was saying before, what's the point of replicating a work of art? And so I was comparing it to, say, when a jazz musician does a version of some classic song, Take the A Train, or you know, Cry Me a River, or any of those wonderful classic jazz tunes, right? So you listen to, say, Diana Krall, and she'll do it really, really slow and make it super sad, whereas another person will give it kind of a bebop, you know, flavor where it's kind of hopping and fun. And there's just, different ways to interpret something. So I consider this kind of like mm, my own, like I'm the director of this play. Put it that way. I'm the director of this play. Now, I didn't write the play, you know, but I get to choose the lighting and the acting and, various other aspects of the production, which is kind of cool. And I'm guesstimating that this piece is probably, I don't know, very, very large, like a much larger painting than the physical space of what I have here. I could be wrong, but it's probably the case. So I have to economize to some extent. I have to figure out, well, how do I miniaturize what it is that we're seeing here? It's challenging. It's really, really challenging. But how do I say this? If you the size of the challenge is the size of the reward. That makes sense? There's, I don't know. I'm annoyed with the idea of not challenging myself. I want the glory. But in this particular painting, I owe it all to the gentleman who commissioned me. Who had the foresight or the insight to do something of this nature. It's quite awesome. So in a sense, I'm learning from him too, and I have to be grateful for that. One of these days, I'm going to sneak Joshua Lindbergh's portrait into one of these things here. So he's just got a great nose, We really want to feature that in these paintings. So as far as my own painting goes, I tend to like large works where I can, you know, just have a lot more movement in the brush, and I like kind of looser style paintings, I guess. This one's a lot more illustrative and tight. Not entirely. I mean, if you do a super, super close up on it, they are loose in some regard. But I'm going to check. Wow, boy, there's a lot of messages. Let's read here. Okay, Handsome Horse is here. Holy cow. By the way, Mamas and the Pepes, Handsome Horse, Mama P. If you don't know who they are, then get out of here, because they are the cat's meow. I'm telling you. Come to. Well, I'm sure you can. I don't know if you do you have a link, Handsome Horse, directly to your stuff. I only know you through the White Art Collective. Let's get. If you guys have links, you want to promote any of your stuff, pop it in the chat. Don't be shy. We are a community. It's not just the Don Show. Okay, please share your stuff. I was just let me read. It'd be indeed nice to interact more. And I agree. Never heard of the Zero Schizo guy. We'll look him up. Handsome Horse asks, do you have to get into a Zen state of mind to do watercolors? You get no do-overs if you make a mistake. How do you keep your cool while painting? So, Uh, okay, this is an extremely intelligent question and like really getting to the core of things. So I'm talking to you because I love you guys. You're my community. I serve you, you see, and I want to allow you to look over my shoulder and join me in my world here. But a normal painting is very much a Zen state of painting. When I did Oriental painting in Asia, I would literally sit and do Zen. I practiced Zen. I learned Zen in Kyoto, Japan, many years ago. So I'm literally trained in Zen. And tell you what, I'm gonna run and grab a quick painting for you to look at from when I lived in Asia, and I will answer this question here. To watch. So painting itself is Zen, okay, and Zen is literally just a Japanese word for meditation. Granted, we know it in the context of Zen Buddhism, so that's related to Buddhism, but there could very easily be Zen painting, or there could be Zen Christianity, or Zen cooking, or Zen jogging. Or there's so many ways to. Let me try to get this. This is kind of a landscape. Hold on, I'm sorry. This is a little awkward, but give you a bit of a look at some of my. Um, this is only like maybe 1/3 of the painting. I know the camera's tweaking out on me. Hang tight. Need to. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. I need more than two hands to make all this stuff work. Hold on. Come on, camera. The camera's having heart palpitations. Come on, stop. Camera. It's not working. My camera's tweaking. I hope you can see it. So yeah. Anyway, that's just a. So this is all done with bamboo brush. Like I think you know what I mean. So Zen, yeah, it's literally a kind of a timeless uh, frame of mind. Real Zen is simply how do I, it's not simply, it's difficult to do. Real Zen, the objective of it is to shut down your ego, to look at the thoughts in your mind as clouds. Like you would never try to grasp at clouds as they were going by. But we have fears and opinions and desires, and our mind is a like grand central station of ideas that draw us away from pure consciousness. So, what we want to have is a state of pure consciousness. Now, the more we practice Zen, the more we abide in pure consciousness. And it's my personal belief that God is the sum of all consciousness. So, when you abide in pure consciousness, you abide in the divine. So, but we're in the third dimension and we do activities. So you can do divine painting. You could fix your car and be divine. You can take the dog for a walk and be divine. It's all about shutting down the ego. It's because the ego is the false self. So I hope that kind of answers your question. The medium is the message as far as content goes. Well said, CG. uh, Beauty is hard. That's a really interesting concept. Beauty is hard, and it's difficult to make beauty, or beauty itself is hard. There's That's actually kind of a deep statement. What do we got here? Oh, Joshua Lindbergh. Yes. So hello everyone. Simon, great to have you back, Simon. Okay, you are fighting two other big streamers at the moment, Raging Dissident and Professor Dutton. Yeah, Mondays are my time. I mean, I literally took off a day from my day job to do this on Mondays. Now, granted, I don't do it all day long. I do a lot, but Mondays are like freelance work days. Maybe I'll have to have those guys on my show. Ethereal landscape. Get your camera to stop meth. Yeah, I know it's irritating, but it seems to be okay. Darn cameras. All right. And there you go. So now I'm going to get back to work. Yep. Okay, that reggae one drop. Doodle Squatch says, also the Hasbro channel is playing old G.I. Joe episodes. Whoa, thought you should know because knowing is half the battle. Dude, good looking out, my bro. My bro right there. Okay. So yeah, if you haven't introduced yourself or said hello, pop in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. Do you guys like it when I muse while I'm painting, or would you rather I just talk, like paint? The other half of the battle is killing. Okay, that's my. Yeah, okay, I'll stop there. But yeah, like you prefer to muse, chit chat, or just work? I mean, does it? You guys let me know what you'd like. I gotta work on this section here. Maybe I'll move the painting over more so you guys can see more. Give me a second. Both. Okay. Both. Okay. Well, we can do both. Talking is good. Both. Muse is good. Okay. So there's all kinds of musing, right? I'm really engaged with Handsome Horse's question about Zen. I like to clarify that I don't know. Hey, it's like okay. I would talk a little bit about the history of Zen. So I don't know if you guys are interested in Buddhism or anything, but it's funny how okay in India, Buddha originated in India, but the Buddha himself came from a family that their lineage is from Iran. He was a Proto-European, a blue-eyed man, and this is something that us Westerners, especially in our political sphere, don't know or think of, and we generally kind of reject it because we just see Buddhism through Asian eyes, and we don't really know what it is. We just, oh, nice little happy monk with his shaved head and whatever. It doesn't sort of fit our warrior culture and mentality. But it's related. Buddhism is to Hinduism kind of what like the tree is to the roots. He was born in that time. I'm really going way back. But anyway, so the root of all meditation is Zen, and Zen is again just the Japanese word for meditation. So without having a meditational foundation where you control your mind, not the other way around, then you can't really evolve spiritually. Now, prayer is meditation with words and intent. Okay, here goes my camera being a jerk again. Hold on. Okay, damn it. Let's try this. Oh, yes. And right about there. Okay, I'll pretend I'm painting. How about that from this? Boy, my hand is big. So anyway, back to that. And the question is sort of, what is Zen? Well, I'm trying to demystify it. I don't want people to think like, oh, well, that's some foreign stuff and doesn't fit our sphere. It's not like that. The mind is a mind. It doesn't matter. You it has a nature, and you have to understand the nature of the mind in order to control it, just like anything else. But the thing is, the mind is perhaps the most important thing to understand. So Zen is silencing the mind. And how you simply do it is you got to sit in a comfortable position and you count your breaths. You're breathing in, 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, you might say, like, well, that's stupidly simple. Okay, try it for 5 minutes straight. And then you realize, holy cow, this is a whole other thing. I'm just trying to get my damn camera to stop being a jerk. Okay, I think we're okay. And then if you can go 5 minutes, try 10 and 15 and on and on and on. In Kyoto, Japan, I'd sit for 2 hours, and there would be a monk that would walk around with a big stick. And if you couldn't focus, you would just tilt your head to the side, and that would signal him to whack you with the stick, like really hard. And that wakes you up, basically. This is kind of Japanese style stuff. But concentration is a kind of Zen, but Zen is really more associated with spirit. Right. To go off the at the artwork on my laptop so that I have rather paint, but I don't out because I'm not on that screen. So that's why I kind of jump back once in a while and take a look. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully it's not being a jerk. All right. So weirdly enough, one of the hardest things to paint is when people have white robes, because you don't paint white. You basically paint the lights that are reflecting off it. And so in this particular case, there's a guy who's got a white robe, and there's a lot of ochre yellow in this painting, partly from the gold of the armor of the people around him, and partly from the stone, etc. So, but it can't be a pure ochre, otherwise it's just too yellowy. So I'm gonna put a little brown in there, muss it up a bit, and that makes it look kind of aged a bit. And then however much water you put into it, that determines the tone of it. Okay. And so here I'm kind of drawing the wrinkles in the cloth. Interestingly, all the different wrinkles in a cloth, etc. People wear clothes, right? So it creates a sense of motion in the body, even though it's a still image, right? So it's kind of cool. Just another one of those dramatic elements that you use when you're painting. And it's nice when you get the hang of it, you kind of let the brush wisp around, like it dances. You let the brush dance on the page. And it does create a lovely energy. I love watercolor. Now, most artists, believe it or not, are afraid of watercolor. People who could be like really great oil painters, etc. It's amazing when you mention watercolor and they shrivel. They're like, water is the most fluid thing, right? So they can't use like a palette knife. They can't kind of chunk it around and mold it like kind of a liquid clay, and they fear it actually. So I only learned it because I'm not afraid of it per se, because I learned Oriental painting in Japan, and that's all water, like what they call ink wash painting. So that's kind of, prior to that I was an oil painter. So I was a fine art student in a college, 19 years old. I actually wanted to go to Germany to do a project on German expressionist art, and the college didn't accept my proposal for that, even though I had the blessings of the art history department. And that to me said a lot. There was something about that experience of being 19 and a young idealistic artist who wanted to go to Europe, and specifically Germany, to study German expressionism. And then the college denied my application for that. And I was even going to freaking pay for it. I was really upset about that. But anyway, my second option was to go to Japan and learn, Japanese painting, traditional painting. So it changed my destiny. Granted, I already was very, very interested in Buddhism, and I wanted to go to Japan or Asia. And I hadn't decided Japan, but Asia to study Buddhism. I almost went to India, and my art teacher, like, she put the kibosh on that. She stopped it, thinking like, you're 19, your dad just died, you're freaking out, you don't know anything about the world, you're a very gentle, naive soul, and you better not go, you know. And I'm very, very grateful that she did that. Now, of course, I'm far more worldly now, but I I dread to think what could have happened to me over there, you know. Granted, I would have tried to go with some program of some kind, but I don't know, it just would have changed my entire direction in life, you know. So even though I went to Japan to study Buddhism, and I also, of course, went to study art, but, 19 years old, I also went to study girls. Whoa! So anyway, that was its own story, I guess. That's not family friendly, so we'll stop there. But I mean, I find it fascinating. I first off, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a fan of anime or any of that, and that's not the Japan I'm talking about. I'm talking about like traditional Japan. Like I studied theater in Japan, for example, um, and that's a massive, phenomenal topic. But it's nothing related to all this kind of waifu anime kind of stuff that's known in our sphere. You know what I'm saying? It's just so different from all that culture. Um, and I don't judge whatever, I don't know. Everybody's got their tastes and their things or whatnot, but that was never what I was into. Um, okay. All right, I can't help but go look at the chat, see what's shaking over here. You are funny. Okay, done cameras. Talking's good. Be yourself. I couldn't talk whilst concentrating. It's multitasking. It really is hard, actually. But I'm an art teacher, and it's just kind of a second nature for me. You should make a character who is already Donald, who got to go to Germany. Gosh, that's a good character. That's a great concept. Holy cow, dude. You know what, Joshua? I would love to actually get together with you and do a film, like act in your film. You know what I'm saying? Um, I am. I don't know where you live or whatever. I think we're probably not super far from each other, but I would just kill to be in one of your films, dude. In Minecraft, right? Okay. Not sure I'm crazy about this music. Let me see if I can find something. It sounds kind of childish or something. Okay, let me cook around here a little bit, gang. Get a bit of the jazz action. Maybe something slightly more relaxing. Hold on. All right. I don't want to be so relaxing that you fall asleep, though. Um, nah, that's too. How about space lo-fi? There'll be a commercial at the beginning of it. No, I don't want to know about your advertisement. Thank you. No, no. So I'm going to skip ads. I'm going to jump into some lo-fi. There you go. All right. So, CG says news update: Israel is planning on a major military action against Gaza tonight. Uh, I bet we could make a pretty cool film. I'm reading Josh here. Make a cool film mixing the Japanese theater and German expressionist influence. That's insanely brilliant, dude. You son of a. That would be interesting experiment indeed. Joshua Lindbergh, please look up. There's something called Butoh Theater, or no, Bunraku. No, okay. There's Bunraku, Butoh. Butoh is. I'll have to send you a link later. We'll talk about that later. Either way, I'd be honored to hang out or have you in a film. I'm in Massachusetts. Oh yeah, yeah. We could do this. Hit the like button if you haven't related to the okay. Yeah, I don't I don't I was hey Hoppa man. Hoppa Perspective is here. Ladies and gentlemen, you must subscribe to Hoppa Perspectives channel. This is a dear friend of mine, brilliant individual. His political analysis is freaking spot on. He's our man. He is our man. And I'm just kind of choking up now. He's so good. So go ahead and click on that, whatever, but please do follow Hoppa Perspective. Um, yeah, this is no joke. I mean, I'm a nice guy, but I don't give out compliments where they don't belong, and that's my man right there. So yeah. So CG, I don't really know what's going on with this Israel thing. If you want to maybe share a little bit, that'd be interesting. Okay, where am I? I'm gonna get back to the painting a little bit. Maybe do a little more musing on my experiences in Japan if you're interested. So, I mean, I was young. I look back and I'm like, I was too young to kind of fully appreciate the experience, but it still was life changing. So, I think my experiences in Taiwan were far more enriching in a way because I was older and I had the wherewithal to process that. So that was a good thing. Interesting. I'll tell you a really cool experience story from life in Taiwan. So I lived in a town in south central Taiwan called Jiayi, and Jiayi is it's not like the glamorous, cool Taipei with the nightclubs and all the foreigners and blah blah blah, all that stuff. I didn't go to freaking Taiwan to hang out with Westerners. I wanted to, I lived in a homestay family. My homestay father was a Tai Chi master. We would get up at like 5 in the morning every day and go to the local park where his students would meet, and I learned what's called Yang style Tai Chi. I did that for a year, and that changed me and my martial arts like dramatically. Um, the unfortunate misconception in the West is that Tai Chi is for old people, because it's slow and they can't move fast. So it's dangerously deceptive because when you're doing any kind of martial arts or even sports, you're developing muscle memory. And when you move extremely slow and deliberately, the way that they do naturally in Tai Chi, you are creating profound muscle memory, profound. And beyond that, you're working out the relationship between your joints to gravity. And the orchestration of your movements are just literally, I would suggest anybody who's like, say, a professional sports player to move and to train at Tai Chi speed. Now, this ties back into Handsome Horse's question about Zen. Talk about Zen, it's moving Zen, but it's more than that. It how do I say it? It embodies the principles of Taoism, which are essentially the universe is binary and all forces are in harmony in nature. So one strives for push, pull, up and down, light and heavy, male and female, all these kinds of principles are at play. So it's a living philosophy. It's an I just can't tell you how cool the experience is. And so when I do martial arts, I imbue the principles of Tai Chi into the techniques. So a technique is a technique. Like, how do you throw a punch? How do you throw a kick? How do you block? How do you maneuver an opponent where you could throw them or something like that? There's all kinds of techniques for that in all kinds of systems. But Tai Chi is about principles. There are techniques naturally, but if you don't have the principles, the techniques are hollow. So the beauty of that is you can then take those principles into other systems, and bingo, there you go. So what I don't know if I'm going off topic here. So yeah, let's get back to Taiwan. So I learned a bunch of different systems there. I mainly Tai Chi and Long Fist. So Long Fist sounds cool, and it's phenomenal. It's really, really, really hard to find a Long Fist teacher in North America. It's just not one of those commercial styles that kind of made it over. Most kung fu is sort of like the five animal systems and that stuff. But Long Fist is what it sounds like. It originated in the north. So you have northern China, which is flat, southern China, which is mountainous. So the northern styles are very large and sweeping and just giant, graceful motions. Whereas in the south, they're and in some cases they're even fighting on boats and stuff where the water you can imagine, try fighting on a boat where the water is sloshing around and your balance. How would that change things? Or you're fighting in really tiny alleyways, where everyone's all congested into these really small areas. That's totally going to change the way that you fight. And I mean, these are wars we're talking about. It's not sport. That's why kung fu is probably not really. That's part of why it's not really known or popular in America, because you can't make a sport out of it, and it doesn't really fit the Chinese attitude either. They're not looking to commercialize it, other than, I guess, like, oh yeah, we want to make money teaching it. And they have tournaments, but the tournaments are mostly forms. Like they call wushu. Wushu is like the Olympics of kung fu in China. It's exquisite. But anyway, I'm going in 1,000 different directions here. Tai Chi, Long Fist. Oh, okay. So I'll tell you a cool story. This is not related to kung fu at all, though. So I'm hiking in Jiayi, and meaning, okay, sorry, there's a huge mountain. It's called Ali Shan. If you look at a map, pull out your phone or whatever, you can find Ali Shan in the middle. It's the tallest mountain in Taiwan. You don't climb it from the base to the top, it's too tall. You take a bus on a 2-hour ride to the top. Well, not the tippy top, but close to the top. You get a hotel, and then you and your friends hike the last half hour of it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you watch the sunrise, and then you come down, you go to the tea houses. There's all kinds of nice other stuff around there. The trees at the top of Ali Shan are minimum 2,000 years old. So they're just mutant giant trees that are fabulously beautiful. I'm trying to find where I'm at. Okay. Um, it's very, if you bring a date or your wife or whatever, it's like extraordinarily romantic. It's a great kind of honeymoon getaway thing too. But it's a lot of it is, for people who love mountain hiking and that kind of thing. So anyway, I go. I've gone a couple times since I lived there for like 4 years, and there is what's called a mountain man. Now, a mountain man is basically a guy who he's like a Chinese Taiwanese dude with like dreadlocks and like dressed almost in sheets, and he's got like Buddhist beads all over him, and you know almost like I guess sort of homeless, but not homeless in the sense that we would know in America. He's a holy man, meaning he's trying to attain some kind of enlightenment living up in the mountains. and he's barefoot. So these guys, they exist in Asia. Um, it's not, nobody makes a big deal about it. It's just part of the culture. You know, it's just a thing. And he was in the area where the buses were leaving to go back down the mountain. And he saw me and came over, and he was just extraordinarily thrilled to meet me. And he was talking and talking, but he was talking in Japanese. And you'd say, like, why is a Taiwanese guy talking in Japanese? Well, the Japanese occupied Taiwan brutally. If you spoke the native tongue, the Taiwanese tongue, I shouldn't use that word, but they would cut your tongue out. You know, that's how bad the Japanese were to the Taiwanese. So you spoke Taiwanese, sorry, Chinese. I'm screwing up here. I meant to say Mandarin. You would not speak Mandarin Chinese. Anyway, Japanese was taught in schools when he was young, and if you spoke your native Taiwanese language, you had to do that in private. Point I'm getting at is that he's speaking to me in Japanese. I had lived in Japan. I'd studied some Japanese, but I suck at Japanese. I'm not good. I don't really speak it, you know. So I would talk back to him in Mandarin, but during his childhood or the time that he, was young and the Japanese occupied the area, so he didn't know Mandarin, right? So he sits next to me on the bus, and for 2 hours he's talking to me in Japanese. And so he would say something to me, I would kind of try to figure it out, and then a guy sitting behind him who saw what was going on would translate. So I would speak Mandarin to the guy behind him in the seat in the bus, who would then speak Taiwanese to the mountain man, who would then speak Japanese to me. So for 2 hours, this three language conversation occurred. And then I would double check with the Taiwanese guy in Mandarin, like, did he say this? Because I don't speak Japanese well. So I would confirm in Mandarin, and then I would be able to answer him back. You could have tried to figure it out. It was like insane. It was insane. But what I'm telling you is that this guy was forced into the Japanese army when he was a young man, and he was stationed in the Philippines. And he had to kill a lot of people for the Japanese army. And he felt unbearable pain over being forced to murder all these people. And that's why he became a mountain man. He denied the rest of his life as a normal person, and like self exile into this kind of I don't know. He's trying to redeem his soul, as you can try to see, right? Very, like, both like tragically sad and profoundly beautiful. So I was deeply, deeply inspired by this man. And what he wanted to talk to me about is he wanted to thank me, he wanted to thank America for defeating Japan so that, Taiwan could be free. And it just could not, he just could not get enough. I don't know how to, he was just overwhelmed with gratitude, like profoundly. I mean, you can try to understand what I'm saying. Try to put yourself in his shoes. So I realized, like, this guy, this is an extraordinarily heavy thing, and I'm just a dude, right? But I realized, like, okay, I need to give this guy closure. I need to give this guy closure, and I struggling through the language, etc. I basically kind of said, like, it's over. You're forgiven. You're free now. It's okay, and like, just be at peace now. It's over. So it kind of get choked up a little bit thinking about it, but it was one of the most profound experiences of my life. Okay, checking the chat. What do we got? What do we got? Tai Chi is Taoist, correct. So having a pretty good show today. Fantastic audience. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. We're gonna go back and read the chat. I'll respond a bit. Let's see if I can straighten this out a bit. I don't know if I can for you. Joshua, Joshua Hapa is here. I'm just a regular guy. I think it's John Lennon song. Anyway, the big mosque in Jerusalem was attacked by Israelis again. Israel committed atrocities against Muslims on one of their holidays in a holy mosque. Things have accelerated, and now they are taking action against militants in Gaza tonight. Could it all lead to dragging America into the war? Okay, Joshua is saying Tai Chi is Taoist. That is absolutely true. It's all about perfect balance between opposites. Well done. Hoppa Perspective says Tai Chi. What about Tai Bo? Good one. Yeah, right. I'll tell you, this stream has got me inspired. Well, that's beautiful. Mutant trees. Okay. Hermit sounds like a friend. Cold, interesting. Brutal. Oh yeah, you're responding to my story. Unusual to find somebody thanking America. Yeah, right. Oh no, I mean the Taiwanese love America. They think of themselves as the 51st state, and that sounds kind of wild. Here's some interesting history. We almost bought Taiwan instead of Alaska. Can you imagine that? Anyway, that's another topic. Unusual to find that civil. There'll be lots of mountain men after the Civil War. Yeah. There will, yeah. What are you painting anyway? Doodle Squatch asks. What's going on in that scene? Okay, so I'm gonna pop a link in the chat of the painting that I'm replicating, so you guys can actually see the painting. So pop it in here right about now, and shebang. I'll do a little read up on it. So this is the Roman destruction of Jerusalem by Titus and his Roman army in 70 CE, as described by Josephus in the Jewish War. The focal point of the image is the fighting I'm reading here. The city destroyed. Jerusalem's destruction in 586 BCE was precipitated by the collapse of the Neo-Assyrian Empire and by the subsequent struggle for power between Egypt and the Neo-Babylonian Empire, both of which sought control over the southern Levant, including Judah. For the 4 decades between 626 and 586, Judah and its leaders in Jerusalem were caught between these two powers. Judah's loyalties vacillated as the fortunes of the Egyptians and the Babylonians waxed and waned. It was perhaps inevitable, or at least unsurprising, that Judah eventually found itself on the wrong side of history. The Babylonians were ultimately triumphant, and Judah's destruction came about because its kings twice betrayed their oaths of loyalty to the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II. Anyway, I'm just reading the bit on the link there. So CG, I think, could probably tell you a lot more about it if you want to ask him. I love to paint with watercolors. Gas killing animal. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, watercolor is wonderful. Taiwan is really nice, I've heard, Tristan says. Welcome, Tristan. It's a fabulous place to visit. If you go to Asia, it's one of the top places. I mean, it depends on what it is you're going for. You've got, like, Japan is it's a super clean, very efficient. Japan is the Germany of Asia. You could look at it that way. Taiwan, a lot more chill. So Taiwan is more Chinese than China. It didn't have the Cultural Revolution to destroy it. And I've got millions of stories about Taiwan. Jerusalem, okay, a masterwork. Oh, okay. Taiwan seems like a much nicer country than mainland China. Way, way nicer. No, I don't. That's not. I'm not trying to say that I've known tons of Chinese people, but in America mostly. Um, Man, you just opened a big can of worms, you son of a gun. Now I have to cope with that. There's a lot to say, but yeah, like I said earlier, Taiwan considers itself the 51st state. It's a That's why I went there instead of China. Taiwan is a mecca for martial arts. Phenomenal. Why? Because all the martial arts masters fled China for their freedom. So there's just so much to say. It's so much easier to get around. They've got a bullet train. You can experience ancient China in a modern Chinese democratic state that's safe. It's not China, unfortunately, is not safe, but I don't want to knock China culturally. There's China, the communist government, and then there's China, the people, and sometimes you get them mixed up. At a later time, Showa era Japan. Okay, I like the colors. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. All right. So I think I'll. What time is it here? Going on a little over an hour. Shall I? I guess we'll keep going a bit here. I'm hitting a nice stride with this painting. So maybe I guess since we're talking about Taiwan, I'll muse on that. Maybe tell you some more stories. Um, let me just get my business hooked up here with my art. Give me a minute. Um, all right, so another story. Um, I'll give you another story. So in Taiwan, they have kind of like the typhoon season. It's a rainy season. It's pretty well known in Asia. There's a certain season that you get a lot of rain. And I'm working on in this place. It's Guishan, which means Turtle Mountain, and it's kind of a new development area. So the city is like half created, and it's just a weird sort of place. I won't get into why I live there or whatever, but anyway, I'm in this kind of remote mountain town, and that's where I was teaching English for a while. And the the rain is coming down really hard. Okay, so I have like a kind of a small motor scooter that I use to get to work and back, and the winds are whipping and it's just dangerous. So I got caught in a sudden typhoon and I needed to seek shelter. So um, there's all these warehouses, enormous warehouses that I drive by every day. It's sort of an industrial looking area. Honestly, it's a real shitty looking town. I mean, it might be nice now, but at the time I lived there, whatever, it's another story. So these warehouses are like, each one looks like maybe about the length of a football field. They're quite large. And I pull over and I take shelter in one. I run into one. I'm lucky that it was open, and I kind of pull my scooter in there, and I'm thinking like, okay, this is a bit of an awkward situation because I'm in somebody's private property right now. I could get in trouble. I'm a foreigner, but there's a freaking typhoon going on outside right now. So they're gonna understand like I need shelter, right? And I'll just be really, really nice and careful and show a lot of respect and just say, I'm sorry, can I just stay here for, however, just let the storm kind of pass over, please, like that. And I didn't expect any trouble, but at the same time, I'm in a sense, it's like I'm breaking and entering, right? Um, so I get into this big old building. Lo and behold, the entire building is filled with huge, enormous Buddhist sculptures. Mostly stone, some wood, and it's as if they were I just couldn't. I mean, I was blown away at the scale of some of these things. I mean, like a Buddha the size of a house, for example, carved out of stone. And I'm like, how in the hell did all this get here? What is the story behind this? This is I figured, okay, maybe this is a place where they're selling stuff, or like they make things and they sell Buddha sculptures to temples, or but there were just so many of them, and I just was I can't even. I'm a bit overwhelmed just even talking about it, you know. So me being at the time, you know, studying and practicing Buddhist, you know, I was in heaven. I was like, oh my, you know, plus an artist. I just can't overemphasize how freaking amazing this experience was. But something's very weird about it. So I'm walking around, there's nobody there. Well, granted, it's nighttime, there's a typhoon, so, you know, why would you be there, right? You know, I guess it doesn't kind of make sense. And then I noticed like a kind of a light sort of off to, you know, a corner in the back. And I kind of head back there. It's a little bit spooky, you know. I'm like I'm alone in this place. What's going to happen, you know? And I go to find out what this light is. The wind is whipping angrily outside. It's terrifying. The typhoon is getting worse and worse, and I'm wondering, God, how long am I going to be here? And or shit, I hope I don't have to leave, you know, because like I can't go outside. And what do I find? I find an old Taiwanese man with a little, sort of like a hibachi fire thingy with a like a cauldron on it, and he's got a little stool, and he has white hair, bald guy, and he's pouring these herbs into this pot, and he's cooking this little pot of herbs in a little stool, and he didn't. As I came into view, he didn't even look up at me. He's just do, you know, doing his thing, and I was like, wow, this is wild. What's going on? So you know, I approached him in Mandarin. At the time, my Mandarin was really good. I said, you know, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry. There's a typhoon outside, and I just need a place to stay for a little while, you know, until it passes over. And he's like, oh, come on, sit down. You know, sit down and come and have some tea. You know, he didn't. It was just. It was as if he was waiting there for me. I'm not saying he was, but it just was like a movie is kind of what I'm saying, I guess. So, you know, I gladly sat down with him. I was so happy that there wasn't any issue, you know, with me being there. Um, and so, you know, he's chatting with me in Mandarin. Granted, you know, my Mandarin's not that good. It's basic Mandarin to get around. I can't talk about brain surgery or whatever, you know, rocket science, what have you. But you know, he's a very sweet old man, and I'm asking, what are you making there? You know, like, what do you got? And oh, well, this is herbal tea. It's good for your health. It'll, you know, gives you good blood circulation and stuff like that. And this kind of things is super common in Asia, like these kind of teas. Uh, Herbal medicine is an ancient thing. You know, they don't have healthcare like, or rather, they don't have like Western medicine like we have, and yada yada. So it was delicious, and it was so nice because it warmed me up. It was quite cold with the typhoon weather. So I said, okay, you know, I have to ask you, you know, well, I want to first start off by telling you I'm an artist and I'm studying Buddhism. So coming in here and this place is filled with Buddhist art, it's like heaven for me. And you know, he thought that was cool, you know. And so then I said, so what's the story here? What are all these sculptures doing here? They're so huge and da 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 da. What's up, you know? So he explains to me all of these. This is kind of a secret location. These are all Buddhist sculptures that were, I don't want to say stolen, but taken from China during the Cultural Revolution. So when the Kuomintang, like the nationalists, were forced to leave China during the Civil War, they took as much of the booty as they could, the emperor's collection and the, you know, all kinds of various artwork and et cetera, et cetera. You can kind of fill in the blanks. So then he pulled out a piece. Oh, you like Buddhist art? Oh, okay, let me show you something. Pulls out a cloth, opens it up, pulls out this stone Buddha. He's, this is from the Tang Dynasty. Now it's Sotheby's. That would have been $100 million or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like absurd, you know. And I was afraid to touch it. I'll be dead honest with you. But I mean, it's a piece of stone. You know, it's not gonna wither or stain or something because I touched it. You know, so I'm holding this piece of a Buddhist sculpture from the Tang Dynasty in awe, like total awe. You know. Um, so we just had a delightful discussion about Buddhism itself and about a little bit about the Cultural Revolution, you know, and it occurred to me like, okay, this is just one of many of these like football stadium sized warehouses. They're all metal warehouses, and they're all nondescript. There's no signs on anything. And you know, like I said, I drive by this stuff every day, but I wonder like, what the hell is that? You know, it's storage of some kind. Oh yeah, it's storage. You know. So that was mind blowing. That was a really neat. I think it would make it like a cool little short film. All right, let's jump back here at the chat, and we're gonna catch up on you guys. See if I can stop the stupid camera from weirdo autofocus crap. Come on, man. Let's do it. Chill. All right. So I'm going to read the chat. I like the colors. Thanks, Sunless. Welcome, Sunless. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to my channel and share. Did you hear about the Chinese MMA guy who beat up all the Kung Fu masters? Pissed off the government. I've seen clips of that kind. I will say that there's a lot of times those things are staged to sell, you know, students to go to wherever, like that MMA guy, you know. MMA is like, you know, it's the cool new stuff, you know. So Kung Fu is traditional. I don't know. I could go off on a big discussion on that. But I guarantee you, I will bet every drop of blood in my body and swear on my father's name that, you know, any kung fu master could destroy any MMA guy. Okay, I'm only saying that after 25 years of studying like 7 different styles of kung fu. So God bless the MMA guys. I don't have any beef with them. You know, do your thing. But kung fu is not a sport. It's for killing. It literally is. It's literally for killing people. You know, so they can't fight them or they'll kill them. You know, no, that's another topic. Anyway, let's continue reading. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the autofocus. The collect colors, do you hear Chinese? Okay, CG says, isn't their current government more an organic manifestation of their intrinsic Confucianism? Heavy questions. Dude, can you not give me such hard questions? I would say no, communism is anti-Confucianist in some way. You can't un-Confucian China. You cannot do that. But that there's sort of like the official communist government and the culture and the way people are. It's very deep topic. People would first have to understand Confucianism just to have the conversation. Never mix people up with their governments. Thank you very much. I'm putting my hand out because I'm just trying to get the focus here. I can't get the damn thing to work right. Maybe I should punch it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hapa Perspective says, my grandfather was an officer in the KMT. Wow. Instead of settling in Taiwan, he left to the U.S. He figured it was only a matter of time until Taiwan fell to Mao. Well, now, you know, they're flying their warplanes over Taiwan. That's another big discussion. They're not gonna. I don't believe China would ever drop a bomb on Taiwan, their family. And not only that, you don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. You know, to Mao's government. Oh, okay, yeah. Mainland China looks like a shithole country that's successful. There's so much. China has, you know, like the third world and the first world. You know, it's such a complex place. It'd be like Europe. I always say that China is like, imagine if Europe was still under the Roman Empire. So people from England to Turkey to Tunisia would speak Latin, right? Well, that's what China is. They all speak Mandarin, but there's many smaller countries in there, and they each have their own language. So, and some are super wealthy and super modern, and in other places, people walk around barefoot most of their life. You know what I'm saying? So there is some definite shithole areas, and communism itself is shit. You know, it turns beautiful places into shitholes. So it's a big topic. What is the KMT? That's known as the Kuomintang, and that's essentially the nationalist party that the communists fought a civil war with and won, thanks to Jewish money and other things. Asia, Tristan says, Asian grandpa and grandma are mesmerizing. All right. Welcome, Tristan. Tristan, the Chinese nationalism fought civil war. Okay. They were saved free of spelling. Sorry, communism. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, this is some heavy stuff. It's really cool. It's very interesting. I'm feeling like I really want to get focused on my work. This is my freelance day. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I love the intellectual conversations. The people in this chat are all phenomenal. And I know you don't know each other or whatever, but you're all phenomenal, and you're welcome here all the time and anytime. So I strongly urge you guys to check out my Imperium Art show. Uh, Subscribe to Hoppa's channel right after you get off of this. I'm thinking of all the videos exposing Chinese low food quality, for example. Yeah, just a massive topic, and I could tell you lots of stories that would confirm exactly what you're saying, but then I could tell you lots of stories that contradict it. So it's just not the easiest thing. But yeah, all right. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Please share this video if you want, whatever. We will see you. I do this on Mondays. I'm shooting for 2 o'clock on Mondays, and maybe somewhere or other I will fix the camera issue. Let's try something here. Well, I'll do that later. Anyway, God bless you guys. You have yourself a good day, and sayonara.